because we used to think, if we got beat by Iowa, we might be staring down the barrel of a 500 season or worse. And now we don't think that. I mean, I don't think anybody thinks that the world has come to an end. It's the fact that it's Iowa. It's our rival. It's the way it is. I mean,
welcome back to another edition of Sound the Sirens. I'm your host, Thomas Ornis, and today I'm joined with my dad, as always. And yeah, it's been a bummer of a couple
24 hours,
and it was just exactly like Iowa wanted it to be, and we did exactly what we did exactly what we've been bad at the last couple of years. And I got to give it to Iowa. They did exactly what they've done every single time they beat us the last 6 or 6 times now in a row. And they're fundamentally sound. Their special teams is on par.
Oh my God, the punter's phenomenal.
Their punter has to be the best punter in the nation. My God.
Well, Eric Heft was comparing him to somebody you would never remember, but the Hawk fans would name. Reggie Roby is who he's comparing him to. When Reggie Roby played in the NFL a long time, when he punted it just had a different sound to it, and that's the way this kid is too. So he's really good.
Yeah, Iowa, man, is the kryptonite of Matt Campbell, and we have to wait another 365 days to see if we can beat them. And just the little things, man. Every single time every time we play them, it's just the little things. The turnovers, we just lose our minds. The talent gap is definitely narrowed to like.
Oh, it's not. There is no talent gap.
Yeah, there's no talent gap at all.
Yeah, I don't think even the drunkest Hawk fan would say that there's a talent gap.
Petrus was 11 for 21 with 106 yards. All he needed to do is have a couple good throws, and that's exactly what he did. And Brock Purdy, who has come up small and not like small. I don't know. Like I'm trying to
be nice. Remember, we're supposed to be brutally honest, but let's just keep it a little under control
because he's the best quarterback we ever had, and
statistically wise,
and for like building Iowa State up to what it is now. Him and Campbell side by side has built Iowa State into what it is today. But man, sometimes he just loses his mind and throws picks. And when the Hawk fan behind me says, when it rains, it pours with Brock Purdy. Like it was very similar to the Baylor game the year before, but it happened in the second half in the third quarter. And when it's that big of a stage, you just can't. It just can't happen. And he gets benched in the fourth quarter to Hunter Deckers, which if you'd have told me that the couple of days before, I'm like, man,
you would have known that it wasn't going to be good.
We're going to lose by we were down by 40 or something.
Right.
But I just hope these next cupcake games that we have, UNLV is one of the worst teams in the nation. Kansas, obviously the worst team in the nation. And just get our offense back on track and move forward because we're at a point in our program where this game is not everything. Like it used to be our Iowa State hates to hear this, but it used to be our Super Bowl.
Oh, when McCarney broke the streak, it was. I remember that day like it was yesterday. I mean, I had a Hawk fan who was a good friend of mine. He couldn't believe that they lost. I mean, that's the way it was. It's not that way anymore. But it's just that it's trying not to downplay it, but I'm going to a little bit. I mean, it is still one game. It is a non-conference game, but doesn't make any effect on the Big 12. We can still get to the Big 12 championship. Obviously, we're going to probably need a little help to get to the playoffs, but it's not the end-all, be-all as it used to be. I mean, because we used to think, if we got beat by Iowa, we might be staring down the barrel of a 500 season or worse, and now we don't think that. I mean, I don't think anybody thinks that the world has come to an end. It's the fact that it's Iowa. It's our rival. It's the way it is. I mean,
it's just disappointing. We had game day again. We were like, oh, we're going to redeem ourselves from last time and actually play like we should, and we didn't do it again, right? And
on one side of the ball.
One side of the ball. The
defense played pretty well. I mean, it would have been
well.
But it would have been nice for them to bail us out a couple of those turnovers. I mean,
But when we gave them a short field about every single time.
Right, but then they scored. I mean, the one touchdown. If they keep them out of the end zone and make them kick a field goal on that one, it helps. But you're right. I mean, I'm not blaming the defense by any means because they did everything they possibly could to keep us in that game. But we can't. They are not generating any turnovers either.
But
we haven't had a turnover generated by our defense in 6 years.
But our
the Hawks.
offense gave us zero. Or you cannot come out college game day, first drive of the game, have 0 yards in the first drive.
Don't disagree with you.
0 yards. It looked exactly like the UNI game. Like we thought, oh, UNI's tough. They're a tough team, but looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
There's no adjustments. I don't know what the hell the game plan was, but we just looked scared. We kind of looked
scared. I mean, nervous maybe, the big stage that maybe we got caught up into that. I don't know. I mean, it was a phenomenal atmosphere. It was hotter than crap. I mean, it was.
I'm not saying we looked scared, but we played like don't make a mistake, and then we just made mistakes.
Well, this is my personal opinion, and you guys can light me up for it all you want, but Iowa comes out the same way onto the field that they've come for 30 years. They've worn the same uniforms for 30 years. They've had the same coach forever. They're consistent. They didn't turn the ball over. That's consistency. They didn't have a penalty till the fourth quarter. That's consistency. They had one guy jump off sides, and then he took out immediately. And we spend, in my opinion, too much time talking about what frickin' color of uniform we're wearing and whether we're going to be playing smoke on the water coming out on the pregame stuff. I mean,
that was 4 years ago.
But we spent a lot of time talking about it.
Completely different.
But we've spent a lot of time talking about it.
Fans do.
Yeah, right. But I'm saying, well, obviously it was an issue because they changed it immediately. Anyway, that's my point is that Iowa, and I've said this before in the pregame thing with Derek, I've got a lot of respect for Kirk Ferentz. I think I've met him personally. He's a really good guy. I've had 2 guys that I know personally played for him at least. But he's consistent. And right now on offense, we are not.
In September.
Right. Yeah.
In September.
Well, we're playing him in September, so there's nothing else we can do about it.
I know. We just need to figure.
We play UNI in September. We could have lost that one because we weren't consistent.
I don't get it. But
I don't either.
The only thing consistent is our defense. Every single year shows out of the gates, but for whatever reason, our offense has all this hype. Brock Purdy is supposed to be this great quarterback. Every time out of the gates, slow. Brees Hall, not sure if he's dinged up or not.
Yeah,
that's the question with him. Kohler is dinged up too, but whenever it's like third, we put ourselves in our offensive line, snapping over his head. Every time.
It's consistency.
It's
discipline.
It's false starts. These big moments, every time there's false starts, there's interceptions. It's the same story every time. And, I mean, we're Iowa State fans. We're kind of, like, complaining about being at a stage that we're not accustomed to being at. But if, like Campbell said, if you want to play by the big standard, hold yourself to the big standard.
Yeah, you want to play on the big stage, you got to be able to do what it takes to play, or the expectations that go on the big stage, wherever the hell he said after the Notre Dame game. And obviously we didn't do that yesterday. I mean, the turnovers are inexcusable. I had a front row seat for Brees's fumble, and there was no helmet on the ball. The guy grabbed his forearm, and the ball just squirted out. And you can probably give a little bit of credit to their punter and the fact that we were in that field position anyway. But that can't happen. We can't have a turnover. We can't throw the ball to the 50-yard line. It looked like a lame duck punt as it's flying through the air, underthrown, and that turns into a turnover. And then, how many flipping interceptions is Iowa going to get on deflections? I mean, Brock squares up to throw out to the side. There hits the defensive lineman in the hands. He shoots it up in the air, and that same guy that got run over by Eli Sanders in the second half gets another pick. We just can't. You cannot turn the ball over and win against a very well coached team. Period. When we're not generating any turnovers,
and
if we would have got 1 or 2 turnovers, it's a different game.
But I was looking on the sidelines. Deckers was starting to warm up, and I saw Campbell go over to Purdy, and I'm just speculating on what he said to him. Said probably something. I'm just speculating. I have no idea. I'm just guessing. Probably said you have one more try. You have one more chance.
Because Hunter, the reason you think that is because Hunter was already warming up.
Yeah.
This is before his last interception.
And 15 seconds later, throws an interception and goes to silent sit down. And
He also sat Brees.
Sat Brees too, but
Yeah.
Brees, I don't know what it is with Brees, but he might be injured, which is the
But,
hard
I
part.
thought he was injured too, and that's why I thought, I was in one end zone. I could see some of the plays really close, and it looked like he wasn't cutting very well. But then he had that one run after his fumble that looked like the
Yeah, I
old
know.
Brees.
Yeah,
So that's the thing that I don't get.
It doesn't make sense. It's really frustrating. It's just like, I don't know. But seeing Deckers, like, we had a bad third quarter, but like just seeing Deckers and how he throws the ball, it's just really exciting. Like, obviously Purdy's going to play the rest of the year, but
Sure. And he's going to play. He's going to get things right because he's going against a couple teams that aren't any good.
But this is not Jerome Tiller coming in and
Right.
back when the
No.
day where like Austin Nod's not doing well, but like he's getting pummeled and injured the whole year, and then we're like, oh, maybe Jerome Tiller is the guy. Comes in, he beat Nebraska, but
No, but
not the trap. I'm just saying.
was-
I'm using
right.
Jerome Tiller as an example.
But no, I
as our
mean-
backup quarterbacks. But
Well, that
Hunter
game too-
Deckers is different.
It's funny you brought up that Nebraska game because it felt like that Nebraska game, but we're on the other side.
Yeah.
We're fumbling it so many times. We're turning it over so much that it was turning into a circus.
Yeah,
and we still only lost by 10. We make a field goal on the end. He had plenty of leg, and he didn't even get it in the same zip code when he kicked it. And we make that, and now we're on an onside kick with a chance to possibly make one last try to even tie it after all of that crap.
Yeah.
That's what I don't get. But
Yeah. Iowa scored 13 points on 8 yards or something like that, crazy. And it was Brent Bloom had the stat. It was like
fourth team since 2016 to get a win with 170 yards in total offense.
Yeah, and happens against Iowa State on College Game Day. That's the most Iowa State thing ever. But
yeah, 39 rushing attempts for 67 yards is what Iowa had.
it's just ridiculous. Like, our defense is the best in the Big 12. They've shown it every single time. Will McDonald got held on every single play.
He's so good. Oh my God,
He
He's so
has
good.
to be. I'm not a history buff at Iowa State, but football, because there's no film of it, and you just have to look at stats. But eye test, he might be the most talented player to ever play at Iowa State.
Oh, speed, length, height, rushing ability. Yeah, I mean, he's got the whole thing. We need to enjoy it because this is it. We won't see him next year.
Yeah, because he might be a top 10 pick. The way he's playing, he has 17 and a half sacks in the last 18 games. And before, he was like just a freshman, a skinny guy out there against Texas. No one could block him. They just had to tackle him basically every play. And he's fun to watch. And him and Hashim Young and shout out to Vaughn. I can't remember his first name, but Vaughn, who played for Vance.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely killed it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Eric Horn got quite a few reps, and we saw some guys out there, especially on offense at the end. But one thing I did want to say, I talked about the offensive line as one of the positions I like because I played it in high school. I've always followed it. I had a lot of guys that I was, I looked up to, Bruce Rammers being one of them, but then a lot of the Nebraska guys I thought were kind of cool guys when I was a kid. And we're on the goal line with Brees's touchdown. We were owning their defensive line. And the trenches at the end, we were getting the push that I was talking about before. What I don't understand is why can't we do that when we're not heading into the end zone? I mean, that's the hardest time to get the push because they got more guys in the box. And I think, in my opinion, with a lot of this stuff, we're being too cute. We need to, like Derek said, turn it into a slobber knocker, figure out a way who's tougher and who, stop worrying about what color uniforms are wearing and all this crap, and play football. That's just my opinion. And I know you don't like it, but there's a reason we've got school colors. I mean, I like the black uniforms every once in a while. That's fine because it changed something. I know the kids like it. But the reason you have school colors in the first place is to give something to people to rally behind.
We're rebranding Iowa State.
We're going to be black and white? Seriously? We're going to be the Raiders?
There's
no way in hell that's going to happen.
If Campbell wants it, we're doing it.
No, it ain't happening. I'll guarantee you that will never, ever happen.
The last 7 games or whatever, we wore black. So
we are not changing our school colors to black and white. That is not happening. We are not Laurel and Hardy in 1920 with black and white TVs.
All right, leave.
It ain't happening.
Let Campbell leave, and we'll turn back into Kansas.
You really think Campbell's going to leave because we don't want to change the uniforms to black and white? You are on drugs. There's no way.
He named me one game where he's worn our school colors. He wears black and white every single time.
And he wears a school colored hat.
A black hat
with a school color on it.
With their logo on
Yeah. Put cardinal gold in a black uniform and I'll shut up.
I mean, this is the list of like problems in our program. The uniforms.
That has nothing to do with it. It's a focus thing. It's something that, we spend so much time talking about it. That's the thing. We should not talk about what color uniform we're wearing the rest of the year.
The fans.
Period.
Do. I doubt the programs in there.
If you believe that, you can't tell me the kids don't think about what color they're wearing. You're crazy.
Do you think they do in Oregon too?
Sure.
They beat Ohio State.
They also got their ass kicked by us.
Which doesn't make any sense.
I know. I know we're both just venting here, so I mean, it's all
I
good. But we're just. I know I'm sounding like I'm old,
but I understand.
But we also just got our butt kicked by an old coach.
I understand your frustrations with the uniforms. As coming from you, growing up with the same colors, but as me, just a young buck who went through really bad football my whole life, and seeing a guy come in and rebrand Iowa State, the recruits love it. Every time there's a screenshot of the recruits visiting, they're always wearing black, and
because it's trendy. But what I'm saying is, show me a team that has tradition that changes their uniform combination every flippin' weekend.
We don't have.
So
tradition.
Do we want to be a team that has tradition or not?
Our tradition. Every good game, good win we've had, we're wearing black. So that's our tradition now.
Okay, well, I don't.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know we've won a bunch of games in black, but I know we've also won some in the other colors too.
Oklahoma back in 1970.
What were we wearing when we beat Oklahoma with Lazard?
White,
pink, and green.
White.
We were wearing school colors. We weren't born white and black.
It was a road game.
Yeah, right. So what? We're going to wear black and white.
We did not have the blacks yet.
And we won.
There's a contract.
That was one of the biggest. That's probably the biggest win.
So you're saying we beat Oklahoma because we're wearing our school colors?
No, I'm not. You're saying that it matters. I'm saying it doesn't matter. We need to stick with school colors. Period. And we want to pull out the blacks every once in a while. That's fine. Get rid of the stupid eraser head helmets with white and black. I mean, look like a Sharpie with an eraser on the top of it. That's my opinion.
I mean, if the 18-year-old recruits that are coming, that with the best recruiting class in Iowa State history is coming in, if they want,
let's change. Let's get off of this because I'm sick of talking about it.
All right.
Let's talk about the future guys that we saw.
Yeah, Eli Sanders,
100 Deckers.
Yeah.
Jalen Knoll, all true freshmen. Oh, no, Hunter's not true freshman. Excuse me, sophomore. But they're studs. Good. And Silas kid, is that the other one that came in? Did you see him without his pads on? I saw a picture of him today.
Jacked, yeah.
He's 18.
Yeah, that's what the thing is. I left the stadium, obviously disappointed that we lost to Iowa the same way. It was just watching the same movie every single time. The Iowa fans are as annoying as ever.
Well, I got my day ruined by 2 Iowa State fans. They were obnoxious as heck.
I mean, I did not partake in the alcohol consumption because I knew it was 97, it's just bad news, and there's some people just
was so hot.
Did not drink enough water.
Yeah, it was so hot, and I got to the park. We parked our car at 9:45, and it was a flippin' zoo. I mean, it was so cool. I mean, it was wall-to-wall people, and I never saw a bad interaction between an Iowa State and Iowa fan. I walked from Hilton to the Alumni Center because I forgot to download my seats, and I had to go find a Wi-Fi to download my seats, to D3, I think it is, over by on the northeast corner, and then all the way to the south end of Vet Med. So I went through everybody, and I never saw a single negative interaction between Iowa State and Iowa fans. And one of the coolest things I saw on social media today was the 2 Iowa State fans helping the guy in the wheelchair up the stairs.
That was a couple years ago, yeah.
Oh, that was a couple years ago?
It just shows the camaraderie about it. It's just a game.
Well, it was fun, but it was funny. I mean, we have this cool flyover from the Udinite to Boone. Yeah. Everybody's going bananas. We're all chanting USA, because we're all Iowans. And then the game starts, and then all of a sudden we go our separate ways.
No, it was like 10 seconds of camaraderie, and then Iowa.
But then there was Iowa and Iowa State fans booing the guy about the vaccine, which was kind of funny. When that commercial came up about that guy saying, the general saying the only thing that beat me is COVID, and then he says something about getting the vaccine, and a few people were booing. I mean, I thought that was kind of funny. But
I didn't.
We both had our shots. Don't start sending us hate mail. It's not a big deal. But I mean, But anyway, there's more things that unite us than there divide us. And
Yeah.
that's the way it is. I mean, I've got a ton of really, really good friends that are Hawk fans.
It just shows.
It's just one of those things that you just hate losing to those guys.
It just shows you that Twitter is not real life. Like
No,
when
God, no.
you get in front of a person, it's just totally different. You're cordial. We're both Iowans. It's just we cheer. Like Kirk Ferentz and Matt Campbell are so similar.
Oh,
They
yeah.
run so much similar programs,
Yeah.
other than the uniforms. But
Yeah.
it's just really cool to see. I saw Kirk Ferentz and Matt Campbell talking before the game. They talk like they usually just like shake hands and then get the video shot and then move on. But they talk for a couple of good minutes because obviously Campbell has great respect for him and
vice versa. Campbell's old school. He has a lot of respect for the older guys that have been around the block. And obviously, Kirk was in this situation at the beginning. I vividly remember listening to talk radio when Kirk was first hired. And there was people criticizing Kurt for not being as animated as Dan McCartney on the sideline and being not as, into the game. And that was when Kirk was losing. And, obviously he rode that wave
he's just a stand-up guy. He's just
donates a lot of money to Children's Hospital. The whole wave thing is awesome. Your brother is, involved in the hospital down there. So it's we've seen it firsthand, and we've had a nephew that went through brain cancer and had been in the University of Iowa hospital a lot. So this is nothing to do with any of that crap. This is just purely sports and fandom. At the end of the day, we know Tyler Nielsen, Brady Ross, go down the list of the Dallas Clark, former Hawkeyes that we know that we think are super, super guys, but damn it, we just hate losing these guys.
There's just one topic where it comes up that's just like,
yeah.
But I'm so glad that Kirk Ferentz is the way he is, because if he was like Fran McCaffrey,
you want to go down the list?
Nick
Saban?
This rivalry would be even more nasty. But just because he's so respectful,
and his kids play that way too. I mean, you don't see them, flexing or looking or clapping up, standing over a guy. There's none of that crap. I mean, that one kid that's had 4 interceptions or whatever it is so far. He got another one and he's just running off celebrating, and so that is coaching.
Yeah,
plain and simple. And Matt does the same thing.
Yeah,
I mean, when Jaquan Bailey did his little flip against Texas, got yanked out, and so that's the thing that Matt does as well. So that's why you got to have a lot of respect for Kirk. But and I'm going to be totally honest with you, I just get really tired of the Hawkeye condensation. Not a condensation, and the word has left me. But condescending, I get condensation is right. I hate the condescending attitude that Hawk fans have toward Iowa State fans when this happens. It just drives me absolutely bananas. We're an agriculture school. We're an agriculture state. I know you have America needs farmers on the side of it. Well, you haven't had a whole lot of people graduate from Iowa with a farming degree. I'd hate to tell you. I mean, God help you with the whole medical school thing. I think that's great too. But, the condescending attitude just gets old after a while. I mean, that's just the way, my opinion.
It's just Iowa is good at what we're bad at. I think it's just
it's
simpler.
True. It's a good way to put it.
It's as simple as it is. They're good at what we're bad at. They're good at details. I mean, we get to that point in like November and sometimes, but what details, the special teams is just night and day compared to ours. We've gotten a little better, but man, if we want to win the Big 12, we got to figure it out.
Our punting's better, not great. Kickoffs,
better,
much better. The thing that still just irritates the living crap out of me, that Jeff Shudeck's kid is kicking for Iowa, and he just about kicked it into my lap a couple times. He is so good, and he just bombs it. I mean, it's out of the end zone every time, and he's so good. And his kid he's the son of a former Iowa State player.
The second leading scorer in Iowa State history.
Yeah, I know.
It's just that hurts. It hurts.
Well, it's also that Derek Clark played middle linebacker for Iowa State, and Dallas went to Iowa. I mean,
but that's just that's a different story.
Yeah, but
because
it worked out for both of them. So
yeah, it did.
But I tell you what, I've never, I think in hindsight, I was thinking about this on the drive home yesterday, is that we do this every year. We get a little too wrapped up in the hype, and we'd stop thinking about the other fact. The fact is that the other teams are hyped up too. We didn't spend I didn't know, and I still don't, besides Petrus, I really don't know. And the guy that Jack Campbell, the guy that should have been in Family Man, that Christmas show, their middle linebacker, I don't know any of the kids on their team. And so we obviously didn't pay enough attention to what kind of team they were going to have. I mean, I won't watch another Hawkeye game the rest of the year. That's the honest to God truth. I didn't watch a single game of them last year because we didn't play them. But we have to spend more time, if we're going to do this right, thinking about what the other teams got and doing a little more research.
We shot ourselves in the foot.
Oh, right.
Many times.
I know that.
They didn't have to do anything. Petrus was, other than like one or two passes, was awful.
Yeah.
Absolutely awful.
Yeah, he's not mobile. He's like an immobile Tom Brady.
He's like, even Iowa fans agree with us. Like, he's not good. He's like is the worst Iowa quarterback since Jay Christensen, in my opinion. And we lose to him because Brees fumbles it and just tosses it to him in their end zone.
Yeah, the ball bounced him like the 4. I mean, the guy could have, taken 2 steps and scored. That was right in front of me. And Purdy, that was so hard to watch.
And Purdy plays himself out of the game. Like, man, if you told me that 2 days ago, I'm like, how? Purdy is. It just sucks how he's never beaten Iowa, and he might go. We might go win a Big 12 championship, and we still haven't beat Iowa. It's like the same thing. Dallas Clark never beat Iowa State. Bob Sanders never beat Iowa State. Brad Banks never beat Iowa State. It's just very weird how it kind of coincides. How this might be like the best. It's the best Iowa State's ever been, and like back then, that was probably the best Iowa's ever been. And they, for whatever reason, when it comes to rivalry games, they fold like a cheap chair.
Well, we may very well talent-wise be the best team that we've ever had, possibly. I mean, I know that's just tunnel vision on thinking about it's a frame of reference. However, I don't care how talented you are. If you don't clean up these little things, it doesn't matter.
But just look at the Seneca game where we came back. Iowa turned it over just like we did. It's eerily similar what they did to what we did.
Brad Banks went to cock the ball back to throw it and dropped it.
Yeah.
Just slipped out of his hand.
Just like the Brees Hall fumble.
Yeah.
It's just.
That's why I was saying I was comparing it to the Nebraska game where they kept fumbling the ball around. They dribbled it better than Fred's team did. I mean, it's like. So that's just wait. I mean, so. You take away 2 of the turnovers, or you get 1 turnover from them and give us a short field 1 time, it's a different game.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. That's the way it is. They won 27-17. Could have, if Iowa had an offense, it should have been 42-17.
Like, we can complain all we want about their offense not doing anything, but if we play as bad as we did, and they don't have to do that, and they know that they don't have to take shots. They just know they have America's best punter in the world, I guess.
Yeah, he's really good. Yeah, so I've said that many times.
Make us go down the whole length of the field without making a mistake. And for whatever reason, yesterday, Brock Purdy and Brees Hall's second fumble or third fumble of his career happened.
So I'm gonna rattle this off to you, and you tell me if I would have told you this ahead of time, you think we win or lose. We have 10 more first downs than they do, and we almost double them up on total yards. And we win or lose.
We win.
And we didn't yesterday.
And they didn't have. I mean,
they tripled us up.
They had more penalties than we did. But that might be in garbage time. But
3 picks and a fumble.
They averaged 2.9 yards a play,
1.7 yards a rush.
And Iowa is ground and pound, and they averaged, what did you say?
1.7 yards. Excuse me. Let me look at it and make sure I'm right here. I don't want to get 1.7 yards per rush. 67 yards on 39 carries.
And I was listening to the Late Kick show before the Iowa State game, before Friday, before Will's game, and he said that Tyler Goodson might be the reason why they win. I mean, other than his good touchdown run, he really didn't do anything.
No.
And our linebackers and our defensive line, who usually is outmatched by a mile by Iowa's offensive line, showed up every down. And still didn't matter because we didn't pay attention to the details on offense. And I guess we've done a lot of complaining. And
I'm still shocked that they beat us in the time of possession. Yeah. I mean, that with the short fields that they had, they still had. I thought for sure we would, even though it doesn't matter. I mean, we would have won the time of possession, but they still had us 31 minutes to 28 minutes. Which
a couple times where we gave them a short field and our defense got a sack, so they had a punt. We should have lost this game by 40.
Yeah.
But we didn't because our defense was so stout. Best in the Big 12. Our offense has the talent. We just need to figure it out. We're going to be fine. We got 2 cupcake games to figure out what we're doing on offense.
Boy, I hope they're not thinking it's cupcake because
UNLV is awful.
I know they are.
Kansas is awful.
Yeah,
but
we have to be able to shake this off. I mean,
and
we got to get right. I mean, I'm hoping that if Kohler isn't 100%, maybe we think about.
Yeah, we're gonna sit out. I think my prediction is we sit out Brees and Kohler until
to get them right
till the Baylor game, because that's a lot of time to rest and just Sanders is good. Sanders is good, and we got young studs that don't play like freshmen, which is
but you also got to play. You also got to play the political game here a little bit. I mean, let's say Brees is hurt, and maybe even Brock's dinged up a little bit. I don't know. I have no idea. I have nothing to base that on. But you sit them more than you should in next week, and Eli Sanders comes out and runs for 200 yards, and Hunter Decker throws for 300 yards. Now what?
But with Eli Sanders, it's different because Deckers is already redshirted. We need, I guess, it's kind of weird because of COVID. I really don't get that. But Sanders, we got to keep his red shirt because we got to. He's gonna be. I think he's gonna be pretty good.
Was he the one that trucked the cornerback at the end, or was it the other guy?
I think it was Sanders.
I thought it was either Silas or Sanders.
Those two are. Man, Campbell with running backs. He's like Iowa with tight ends. He can.
Jalen looked good too, man. Yeah. Jalen Knoll.
We got things to look forward to, but we just need to figure out the little things like always, and until Campbell doesn't not figure it out after September, I'll just listen to Campbell and everything will be fine. I know it's really annoying losing to Iowa and listening to the Iowa fans, but it's gonna be fun how like Brees Hall or Purdy figure it out and be studs again, and we'll get hype back up again after we beat the Big 12 is really down this year.
So, but have you taken a peek at Iowa's schedule?
Yeah, it's cupcake after cupcake.
Kent State, Colorado State, at Maryland, Penn State, Purdue, Wisconsin, Northwestern, Minnesota, Illinois, Nebraska. How in God's green earth can you be in the same conference and not play Michigan, Michigan State, or Ohio State all in the same year?
I don't know. They're gonna.
How is that possible?
But the thing is, they might go. This might be a year where they go undefeated again and go get Christian McCaffrey again in a bowl game and just lose by 60.
Well, I won't be watching.
But you know what I mean? Saying like their offense was so bad. Yeah. It's either their offense is really bad or our offense is really good. It might be a mixture of the two.
Our defense is.
Our
really
defense
good.
is.
Yeah. I think it's probably a little bit of both. Yeah.
But
they weren't. I mean, if you take out a few plays, the pick sixes against Indiana and the one long run by what's his name. I mean, that was their kind of a pedestrian game then too. But we're done talking about the Hawks. It's over. Wash your hands, wash your hair, get it over with.
We're two Iowa State fans that are very emotional. My dad already gonna cancel the season tickets for next year.
Shut up. No, I'm not. No, you're heading to Vegas, so man.
Yep, me and Louie.
Don't bring home any souvenirs.
Yeah, me and Louie are gonna stay at my Uncle Mike. Shout out Uncle Mike. We're gonna stay at his house. We got for UNLV's a sketchy blank athletic program that didn't open up the Ripple Bowl until like a random Thursday night.
And it's not even the whole thing.
No, it's just 3 sections.
Yeah.
Because I just wasn't going to go because the tickets were out of sight. I was going to pay more to watch the worst team in Division I play against us. And I'm not going to pay more than our season tickets this year to go. Yeah, it didn't make really sense. They moved it down to $33 a piece, and me and Louie are going to see what Vegas is all about. And it's still going to be fun. I know like this week sucked, but when you get Iowa State fans together and a new Vegas, are you kidding me? It's gonna be a good time, and
I help you have fun. I can't believe it doesn't start here till 9:30 Iowa time. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of people snoring before the game.
I talked to Grandma Joe. I don't think she said she might not make it, but she
might not make it to get kickoff.
Yeah, she might. It starts at 9:30, but she'll record. I think it's on a weird station too, so kind of weird, but yeah. We'll be fine. We still got good players. It's
right.
Like,
you listen to Ryan Harklaw after the game. I listened to him on the way home, and he is one of the most positive people that I know. And he was talking about kind of basically trying to get everybody to relax a little bit and saying what's in the cupboard is the way he referred to it with the young guys. And it just sucks. It's a rivalry game, but you know what? I still have to go to work tomorrow. You have to go to work tomorrow, and we'll probably cross paths with a few Hawk fans. It's just the way it is.
And
it'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. We'll be fine. Everything will be fine.
take a breath.
I just the amount of emotions I've been through since the game is just like convincing myself like we're not the old Iowa State. This isn't the only game that matters. Like we've been more competitive with we match up better with Oklahoma than Iowa. Like, would you ever think that was possible?
Well, it's just disappointing. I mean, we have to, I guess we should have probably been a little more prepared that this could have happened. But, I did not see 3 picks and a fumble coming, that just really kind of came out of left field. And the fact that they were, where they happened, it wasn't like it was we were going in to score and it happened. It happened way on our end. Yeah. I mean, that really hurt. And that's just, that was the difference in the game. It's the way it is.
Just the way it is. And I don't know.
And it was the the anniversary of 9/11. I'm wearing my Not Today Rona shirt that I got for the 4th of July, and I know we were talking about 9/11, and brings back a lot of memories talking about that because you were 2, and I actually had lost my job and was looking for a new job. So I was a stay-at-home dad at the time, and I go drop your brother off at school. And come home, and my mom calls and said, "Hey, have you seen the news?" And I said, "No," and I turned it on. It was just after the second plane had hit. Got you some toys to play with, and I threw a videotape in a VHS recorder and hit record and let it run all day because I knew this was big. And, it brings back a lot of emotion. I've watched a lot of documentaries on it, and I think we need, we don't need that to happen, but we need to figure out a way to kind of come together a little better than we are right now. I know that we're kind of talking out of both sides of our mouth with the way we've been talking about the Iowa State thing, but that's a sports, and this is not. I had a long conversation with the captain, I believe he is in the Army Reserves, and his opinion about everything. And you talk to one of those guys, and it really gives you perspective. Somebody that actually had walked, a beat in Afghanistan and everything, and you really appreciate those guys because a lot of guys didn't come home after that, and a lot of guys didn't come home that day when they just went to work and those towers came down. And hopefully we remember that freedom isn't free, and the only way we're going to be able to, get through some of this stuff is working together a little more than possibly we are. I mean,
just my advice is, especially like the Hawkeye Twitter and all that, just take a break from Twitter.
Yeah.
It's all like, after the game, I'm like, I'm not going to touch Twitter until the morning. I tweeted pain. That's all, and I got off. Yeah. But Twitter is just a dark place when we lose, and it gets nasty, and we just need something to come together. And I agree with you. It's just a weird time. I used to, just think back when 2019, when the band situation happened to Iowa. That was like the only issues we had.
Right. Yeah. Right.
What a simpler time that was.
Well, talking about that year of the 9/11, we were supposed to play it. That was supposed to be the Iowa State game, and that was Seneca's year. Yeah. And they moved all of the games. I was a high school football official at the time, and they moved all of the games away. We didn't have high school football on Friday night, and they moved that game to after Thanksgiving or around Thanksgiving. And man, that game was so much more meaningful then. And we kind of knew where what we had for teams at the time, and it was kind of fun to play it then. But, yeah, I still vividly remember the first game I went and refereed after 9/11 was in Osage, and we're standing there with all of the military stuff, and everybody was emotional about it. And my white hat's son was in basic training, and he ended up being the machine gunner in a Humvee running up and down Airport Road in Baghdad. And so I remember we were sitting in the locker room getting ready to go, and he goes, "Yeah, all these people are talking about we need to invade and go over and blow up everybody," and he goes, "They don't have a kid sitting in basic training right now." And I think all of us Iowa State fans need a little perspective on what happened yesterday, and it's just a game at the end of the day. It's fun to talk about, it's fun to get excited about, but it's still just a game.
It's just a game, and it's just different how
it sucks.
It still hurts. It's just I don't know. Yeah, I guess, yeah. Just, I don't know what I'm saying. It's hard, but it's not. It's fake hard. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not.
It's fake
life
hard.
or death.
Yeah,
we've seen too many things that have been actual life or death.
There's so much worse to worry about. Like,
right.
If the only thing you're worrying about in your life is if Iowa State beats Iowa, like, you're living a pretty damn good life.
That's a good way to end it.
All
that
right.
was good. Go Clones, baby.
Yep. Go
Be
Clones.
UNLV.
Yep.